Hey, welcome to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to be talking about how your kids won't eat anything.
So the big question is this: how are parents like us, who don't have a manual, who are doing the best we can, who feel as though we aren't enough, how are we going to raise healthy, happy children who we are proud of and still keep our sanity in that process? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Ryan Roy, and welcome to I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, a podcast for parents who are being real with themselves.
Hey, welcome back to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to be talking about how you always say, my kids won't eat anything. They won't eat vegetables. They won't eat seafood. They won't eat steak. They won't eat, and the list goes on, but I could probably tell you some of the things that your kids do eat and will eat almost any time you put it in front of them. Pizza, French fries, hot dogs, McDonald's, chicken nuggets, all of those greasy fried foods that taste so good, that comfort food, mac and cheese, those things that make us feel really good inside, but not so good externally. And here's the thing, I always equate it to, and this is kind of funny, I haven't watched this show in years, I heard recently it's still on, but you got a show out there called Jerry Springer, and I remember watching it when I was young, and parents coming on and say, my 8-year-old dresses like a hoochie, and they'd have mini skirts, and I thought to myself, at a young age, who buys the clothes? Like, who allows an 8-year-old to dress like she is an adult going out to a nightclub? Who purchases those clothes and that get up? And it's the parents. So I think to myself, oh, your kids won't eat anything. First of all, survival of the human being is a very simple thing. We must feed ourselves in order to survive. And if we're hungry enough, we will eat just about anything because we have a desire to survive. Here's the challenge, is you haven't created boundaries or set up scenarios for success. Like, oh my goodness, my child is going to suffer because that they didn't have dinner. Oh my goodness, I'm a horrible parent. No, you're a horrible parent if you put whatever they want or they fight for to get, even though it's not healthy for them or isn't the ideal food. It's your own lack of boundaries and willpower and guilt surrounding yourselves around, I'm going to be a bad parent if they go to bed without a meal. So, I typically tell you guys why I'm having this particular episode, and the reason I chose this episode and this thoughts because we're on vacation right now. And a lot of comfort food in the house, a lot of lack of comfort in the form of in a new place, in a new space. There's been travel, there's been this, there's been that. And because of all of that, I think there's that the guilt of my wife will say of, oh, he's got to eat this now, and at this time he can't take a nap without having his lunch, and if you saw the little one, and even the big one at this point, but if you saw the little one, he could probably not eat for a good 2 weeks and still survive. I mean, that kid is, I call him my chunker butt. But here's the thing. Mom's frustrated. He won't eat anything except for bread. Now, he'll eat other things. He's just got to be hungry enough to eat those other things. And if he keeps saying no to everything else and just takes the bread and you cave in, or we cave in to him eating the bread, guess what? That's our fault. That's not his fault. If we're supplying him bread and she doesn't think that that's what's best for him, give him an apple. Give him some corn. Give him some green beans. And if he throws them on the floor, guess what? In my opinion, without arguing with my wife, but if it was solely up to me, he's done eating. if we get to the next meal and we give him green beans and some apples and some bananas and he throws them on the floor, he ain't gonna eat that meal either. I guarantee you, by the time he gets around to the third meal, he gonna be hungry. And we're gonna sit him in front of the food, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm not gonna get anything else but this, and I'm hungry right now," and he's going to eat it. So it's not that your kids won't eat vegetables. It's not that your kids won't eat the foods that you desire them to eat. It's you having created the structure and the boundaries for them to know that this is all I'm going to get to eat. Now, I'm guilty of this as a parent in many ways. And the one way I'm not guilty is my children do not drink any type of sugary drinks. And probably the reason we drew the line on this one is because my older son has some type of heart murmur, and they said any caffeine in his diet is not going to be good for him for the long haul, like for his life. So we consume a lot of water in the house, and therefore there's not really sugary drinks in the house. There's no sodas, there's no sweetened tea, there's none of those Capri Suns, there's no like lemonade mix, there's nothing sugary, period, much less with caffeine. So in that aspect, people always say, well, he just wants water. We'll be at a birthday party, they have Capri Suns or Cokes, or no, we don't. He doesn't really drink it. What do you mean he doesn't drink it? Well, how did you do that? Well, we never gave him a damn Coke to begin with. And then they're shocked at us that our kid doesn't want it, because at this point his palate, it's way too sweet for him. Because I've allowed him to try it, but he's like, oh, that's gross. It's too sweet for him because he's always drinking water. So when you say your kids don't eat, it's because, just know, they've never had to. You've never created a scenario where it's beneficial for them only. See, I don't know jack about parenting, but I know this. If I cry loud enough and I get what I want repeatedly, I'm going to continue to cry until I get what I want. But I do know this. If I cry and I don't get what I want, eventually I'll stop crying because it's ineffective behavior. So don't cave into the crying. Put the vegetables on the plate. The trick we use in our house is like, here's your vegetables, we're heating up the other stuff. And you're not going to get it until you eat your vegetables. Eat the vegetables first, then we put the stuff on. Does that happen every night? No. Is it a perfect system? No. But it's a step in the right direction. So I hope that helps you guys. I know it's a challenge. It's a challenge in my household. I'm sure it's a challenge in your household. But don't blame it on them. Take ownership, look yourself in the mirror and say, what am I providing my kids to eat? And if they're not eating the things that I want them to eat, it's because I'm not creating the right structure for them to be successful doing so. We'll see you in the next episode.
Do you want to be the dad you wish you had? If so, go get my free book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com. Inside, you'll find my most effective 40 tips to quickly and easily transform yourself into the ideal dad. Go to BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com now and get it while it's free.